Hey there, thanks for stopping by my channel to color. Today we're going to be coloring some images from the new My Favorite Things Secret Santa stamp set. Isn't that just a cutie? You can also get a little girl image that comes with that one if you prefer to color the girl instead of the boy. So we're going to go ahead and color all of our images with some Copic markers. I'm going to go ahead and start with the skin. For that we'll use E21, E00, and E000. And I'm just going to give them a quick coat of each of those and then do the cheek color with R20, and then I'm going to come back with a second coat of my skin color and maybe darken up the cheeks again if I feel that they're not dark enough, and then swipe over the top of those with my E000. So if you would like to know what colors I used and save a pin card, you can head over to the store blog, and I will put a link down in the description box to the blog post. And at the bottom of the post you can find a pin card that you can save to Pinterest with all of the colors that I used, or you can print it out and put it in a notebook or some kind of album if you want to keep track of those. I find the pin card easier because then I can go back and see what colors I liked, just flipping through the little cards instead of having a bunch of post-it notes with no examples. That never works out very well for me. So next we're going to go ahead and we're going to do his hair. We're also going to color the bottom of the tree, the little stand the tree's in. So if you want to do those at the same time you can. I forgot and we're going to do that later, but right now we're going to do his hair. So we're going to start with E39, then we're going to do E25 and E13. I start out by doing, I try to hold my pen more upright so that I just use the tip of my marker to make the little lines on there. And I'm making sure that my lines curve in the direction that his head is going. So each one of those little bangs there kind of curve around to his ear. So I want to make sure that my little streaks go in the same direction so that they're not looking strange. And then I go ahead and swipe over the whole thing with E13 because I can never get the little white streaks to look very well. So I just prefer to swipe over the whole thing. And then I want the stripes to be, or the streaks to be a little more defined, so I'm going back over with my two darkest colors and putting those back in there. And again, I'm just using the very tip of my pen and trying to make the lines very skinny. So next we're going to go ahead and color his pajamas. We'll use the blues to color the pajamas, a couple of the ornaments on the tree, and then the little round box over there. That's what color the wrapping paper is going to be. I used the B97 to do the collar and the cuffs on the bottom of his pajamas there because they're really small and they're not going to need any shading, so I thought we'd just go ahead and color those in. And then I'm going to use my 3 blues to color his pajamas, and I'm going to give it 2 coats because I didn't think it was dark enough, so I'm just going to go over it a second time just to darken it up. I thought the shading went okay and I thought the lines were okay, but I just wanted it to be darker. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes I add 2 or 3 coats depending on how much lines I have left over, so I will go back over it a few times, and sometimes I only need that 1 coat and I think it looks fine. I think it depends on how heavy I am when I go across the paper with my pen, because if I leave it down there a little bit longer it tends to soak up a little bit more ink, and so it gets darker on its own. But if I'm being really careful and light-handed, it doesn't soak up as much, so I usually end up doing a couple of coats if I want it to be darker. So I'm just finishing that up with my 3 colors there, and I decided the lid of the box was going to be dark enough, so I'm just going to do 2 colors, and I swiped clear across to darken it up because it is the lid and it's underneath that big bow. Now we're going to go ahead, and I decided the little bow needed some dots, so I'm taking my B97 and I'm dotting some dots on there. The longer you leave it pinned down, the bigger the dots will be. The faster you are, the smaller the dots will be. So take that into consideration when you are coloring the little dots. So now we're going to use some C's and we're going to color our pillow. I'm going to start out by doing C4, and I'm just going to do a little bit on each little spot that I want to have some shading, and I'm being really careful because that's really dark and I don't want the pillow to be gray. I want it to just appear as a shadow and then it be white. Then I'm going to take my C2 and I went over the top of the C4 very lightly just to soften it, and then I'm going over those 2 with my C0 just to soften that, but I'm leaving the rest of the pillow white. So I'm adding some C2 now to my bow so that it will have a little bit of shadow on there, since there's none, since we colored it with just the little dots. It didn't have any shading on there, so just a couple of quick coats on there. And then for Santa's beard we're going to use those grays too, but Santa's beard is not straight. It's got a little squiggles in it, so I'm taking my pencil just like I did with the hair, and I'm making the little squiggles go in a little squiggly line so that they go in the curve that his beard is going. We'll add a little bit under his nose and a couple little swipes on his eyebrows, and then we'll come in with our C2 and do the same thing. So I'm just adding a couple of little lines going in the direction his beard is going, and then I'm going to color the whole thing in with C0 to blend all those colors together. Next, we're going to do his glove. So I'm going to grab some W's or some C's for that. We're going to use 8, 7, and 6. And I want there to be a little bit of shading there on the bottom of his hand. So I'm not bringing my line down to the stamped line. I'm leaving a little space there so I can use my lightest color in that. Then I'm coloring in most of his bottom of his hand and just a little dab on his thumb with the C7. And then see the two little lines there I have? I'm just going to go over those quickly with my C6 and cover them up. And then there you can see there's just a little bit of a lighter area so that it looks like his hand has some dimension to it. Next, we're going to use our greens. So we're going to go ahead and color our package. Let's go ahead and do the top of the package with G29. And then we'll use our other colors to color in the package. And I'm going to give it 2 coats because I wanted it to be darker again. So quick G21 on there. And then we're going to swipe over the top of that with our YG61. And then I decided it definitely needed to be darker. So I'm just going to swipe it again with another coat of my G26. And then G21 over that. And then over both of those colors with my YG61. Next, we're going to hop over here and we're going to do that little tree. So for our little tree, we're going to start with G29, and I'm just going to do some little lines coming off the top, and then underneath of each of the boughs, I'm adding some lines in there. I'm being really careful when I go around the ornaments, because if you get some of that G29 on there, it's going to be next to impossible to get it off. So just try to avoid getting it on your Christmas ornaments to begin with, and then we don't have to worry. Then I'll come down, I'm just working my way down to the bottom of the tree, and in those spaces where there was no stamped lines, I just did a few little lines in there to cover it up. And then we'll do the bottom, and we're going to come in and do the exact same thing with our G46. I kind of start in the middle of the G29 so that it falls somewhere in the between, so that it's not quite so far up on the tree. I don't cover all of the G29 up, but I kind of go in the middle part so that it streaks down. And then as I come to the bottom of the tree, I'm going further down on the branches, because it's going to be a lot darker at the bottom of the tree than the top. Now we're going to come in with our G21, and I'm going right in the middle of my last color, and I'm again swiping that down in little lines down to the bottom of my branches. And as I go down the tree, my lines are coming further down so that they cover up more of my branches so that it's darker at the bottom. Down here on the bottom, I'm almost completely covered that bottom branches all the way up. I've left just a little bit for my last color. So for this one, I'm just kind of going from the bottom of the branch up, because I don't want to smush all my lines together. So I'm being careful to just do the bottom section and maybe a little bit of the G21, and I'm filling in the rest of my branches. And then I'm going to come back with my G29 and add a few of those little lines back in so that it will look like there's some pine needles hanging down. Alright, so now we're going to move on to some yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and do both of the bows on our package, and I'm going to start with Y26, and then I'm going to go over that with YR, oh, I forgot part of the package there, so I was just coloring it in. Now I'm going to go over my Y26 with YR23, and then I'm going to color the whole thing up with YR21, and then I'm going to come back with Y26 and put that dark shadow back in. Same thing for this bow. We'll just start out, add to the dark shadow, come in with my middle tone, and then swipe over the entire thing with my light tone just to soften it, and then come back with my dark tone. Then of course we need to do a couple of these little ornaments over here, and I tried to make so that the colors all went around in the images. So like the boy's little pajamas has blue, some of the ornaments will be blue, and then we have some yellow ornaments to go with the bows on the packages, and then we're going to do some red ornaments to go with Santa's outfit and the little bag ornament there, the bag package. So here we are doing the blue, so just to match his pajamas. And I didn't do anything fancy. I just did like half of the ornaments with the dark color, and then I went around in a circle around the whole thing with the middle tone, and then I went around the entire thing with the lightest tone to blend them all together. Then we're doing the accent on our rug, so I did about half of it with the dark tone, another quarter of it with the middle tone, and then around the whole thing with the lightest tone. Now we're going to add a little bit of shadow to our fur on Santa's outfit. So W1 in the little, wherever you want it to be the darkest, and I tried to be sparing with it because I didn't want it to appear gray. I want it to be white. And then a quick swipe with W0 to soften it up. And here, if you were doing the hair, you could have done this little pot at the beginning, like I said. but I forgot about it, so we're doing it now. I'm just going in and I put my darkest tone down. I come in with my white or my E25, and then I'm going over it again with all my colors. And I decided I didn't like the E13, so I'm swiping over the entire thing with my middle tone, and then I'm just blending all the colors together with the E13. Alright, so that leaves us with the red. I always leave red till last because it seems like it never fails. I will touch it with my hand and move it around, or I will somehow manage to get it somewhere where it doesn't go. So for me, it's just easier to color it last. So I'm just going in with the dark tone, going in again with the next one, and working my way down to the bottom. And then when I get to the lightest one, I tend to just swipe over the entire thing. And we'll do our quick little ornaments here. Again, see, I got a little C there at the bottom of the ornaments. And then I did about to the bottom of the flower pot with R29. Then we're going to come in and add a little bit of our R17 to my ornaments. And then I'm going to do a little bit more to the front of my pot there with the 17. And then we'll add R05, just a little bit more, and then we'll fill that all in with our R14. Then we're going to finish up our coloring with that little cute little bag there. So I hope you had fun coloring today. If you have a question, leave me a comment down below and I'll make sure to get back to you. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit the little bell next to the subscription button so you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. If you're interested in putting the card together, I'll put the timestamp down in the description in case you would like to head over to the real-time video and watch me put this shaker card together. Otherwise, I hope you're having a fabulous day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.